Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Shakey's Cricketing Journeys. Today I'm joined by a dear friend of mine, an ex-captain of mine, England under-19 superstar back in the day, Nottinghamshire county cricketer, famous 12th man in a test match. We'll get to that. Today it's my pleasure to welcome Bilal Shafayat to the podcast. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Cass. Thanks for having me, brother. It's been a little while.
It's been a while. Well, probably last time now. It's crazy how the time flies. We'll get on to it, but we played the 2010-2011 season together in Pakistan. That's almost 10 years ago now. It doesn't actually feel that long ago, but it's crazy. It's crazy where time really does fly. I want to go back, Billy, to the start first and foremost. I want to go back to, you were born 10th of July 1984, so we're the same age. You've got 4 or 5 months on me, hence why I've always called you Bilal Bhai. Talk to me about your early days and how you got into cricket then.
Wow, Cass, it's in a little box now, somewhere at the back of my mind, It's only when you start unveiling the layers, you start to really remember everything. But look, you remember the real good times, and growing up in a household which loved cricket. My dad never really played it, but he loved cricket. He loved watching the game. In our younger days, he used to take us to Trent Bridge to watch Notts a little bit. He used to usually take us to Trent Bridge after tea when you don't have to pay to get in.
Nice.
So at the end of the day, so we used to catch like half a session. I remember watching the likes of like Chris Lewis, Greg Mike, Paul Johnson, Tim Robinson at Notts, older guys, real older guys. Mm-hmm. But just watching them play a sport that Dad loved at a place that just looked amazing at Trent Bridge.
Oh yeah, lovely ground. Love the state, love Trent Bridge.
Yeah, and it's developed even more now, and it started to really ignite something within me. And I started cricket. I tell you how exactly I started cricket. We pretty much have that backyard experience. I had an older brother. We all mucked around a little bit. And then there was a local scheme set up by the council here for Black and Asian young cricketers. So we had two coaches that the council paid, Andrew Jackman from a West Indian background and Manavar Chaudhary from a Pakistani background. And they literally went around in a bus and collected guys all from the sort of inner city area, Nottingham. Mm-hmm. My brother went for it for a few weeks, tagged me along one day, and I just went to watch. Andrew Jackman, later on, he's known as Jacko here in Nottingham. He's like one of the godfathers of cricket, around here in Nottingham. Just said, look, what you're doing outside, jump in. And for me, that was it was a real dream come true to even just play hardball cricket, be in a cricket net with a lot of older guys. I was 8 years old, picked up a bat, and whatever he said just started to click. It really started to, make me feel that I could really do this, man, because I kind of picked up stuff reasonably quick. But I was very fortunate. I had a massive group of older guys around me. And Cass, what it's like, when you're training with them, with the cricket bowlers and stuff, mm-hmm. When I kept playing my own age group, things just felt a lot easier. And I think that became a pattern throughout my career later on. So that's how it really all started. And I can remember every week guys just would drop off, not come back. And I was 8 and I stopped, training with Jacko when I was probably 28. So 20 years later down the
Wow. Great. No, it's always good to hear who inspires you in your early days, and for him to still be Jacko to still be involved with you 20 years later. That's a great story. And how many other young lads has he made a big difference to?
To be honest, both of them, Manavar Chaudhary and Jacko, they still run sessions now. Jacko does it more so. He does it every weekend. There's a lot of cricketers I've come through in Nottingham. If they haven't been coached by him, they would have known him. I've had some sort of advice. They both were that sort of character, very sort of hands-on, passionate about the game. If they've seen me and you just playing in a park, they'd probably stop the car and say, or guys, lift your left arm, your right elbow a bit higher or something. They were just really passionate about it. So, Samit's been coached by them. And myself, like I said, Samit's brother Akil Patel played a little bit for Notts. Uzi Afzal, is a lot older, but if Jacko would see him in the nets, they would converse about cricket, and I played alongside
him. He was one of my favourite players growing up. I was quite attracted to Nottinghamshire in general because you had such an influx of Asian players. So obviously, being a Scottish Pakistani growing up, striving to play cricket at higher honours as well, I was always looking down the road at the counties. And Nottinghamshire was always a county that I always thought if I get signed, I would love to go to Nottinghamshire. Yourself, Sami Patel, Usman Afzal, obviously all went on to have fantastic careers. So when did you kind of break into like Nottinghamshire's junior setup then?
So, like I said, I started about 8, and then I think I was about 10 years old when I made it to the under 11s county age group, and then when I was 11, they started to play me in the year above. Okay. It just became something that was a massive passion turning into, on the field. Now let's start to materialize this passion and dream. Yeah. To be fair, one thing that happened quite early and I guess Jacko was a main part of that, was he took me into an adult team of West Indian Cavaliers.
Right, okay.
I was 12.
Yeah.
I was 12, and I look back and I think, I've got a 14-year-old boy now, right?
Yeah.
Or a young man, shall I say. I can't see him being in a dressing room that I was in at the time, in a nice way, in the nicest possible way, only because I just think maybe we were just, I don't know, were we developed a little bit quicker, we were out a lot more, and I just felt that there for me at the age of 12. So I broke into Notts by under 11s. By 12s, Jacko said, look, the only way you can play men's cricket for Cavaliers was to keep. Yeah. And I'd never wicket kept. And he says, look, I'll buy you a pair of gloves. You're going to stand behind the pegs. And they had all ex-West Indian first-class players. Right. I think Carl Hooper's played some games for us. Roger Harper had played some games, some of the older guys. Yeah. Chris Lewis did as well. So, and I just started to catch the ball, keeping, and then it started to become, another little thing that could add on to my batting, because I couldn't really bowl. I bowled little medium paces, too slow.
Yeah, I've seen you bowl in Pakistan. It says when you look your name up that you're a bit of a genuine all-rounder. I had my doubts. I would have said more of a wicket, if anything, that your batting and then your wicket keeping would have been your standout.
Yeah, exactly. I tried leg spin when I was younger. I was no good at it. Tried little medium paces. As long as I was captain, I was all right, because I used to let myself bowl.
Yeah, but as you do.
Yeah, but the keeping took over then, and I started to enjoy that, and that's how I broke into the men's cricket side of things. It was kind of like enforced on me to say, look, keep, and you open the batting. I had 10 big West Indian cricketers around me who'd give me massive amounts of confidence. Yeah. Even if I blocked it for 50 overs, they didn't care, because they'd be teeing off at the other end. Yeah. So it did my confidence, a world of good from that age. And then I just really started to go through the ranks at Notts, under 13s, 14s, and it got serious by the time I got to 15.
Yeah. So it's interesting you touched on not seeing, looking at your son who's 14, older than what you are by a couple of years, and you can't picture it. I think we were just out and about a lot more. It was a lot more social back then. These things these days, they kind of, take over. You try to get your kids to not be so, but it's difficult the way, but we were, I think in our age, just out and about constantly. So being around older people was kind of like, especially you as a talented cricketer, I was similar as well, that I wanted to play with the older guys. I didn't want to play with the ones my age, because I was like, I'm better than these guys. I want to see if I can compete with the bigger boys. And that's how you achieve more. I think I don't want to sound like, oh, in my day it was like this, because we used to probably get that from our fathers and our uncles. But definitely the kids these days, they seem a little bit softer than what they were coming through in our, and perhaps before us, they were tougher than what we were. So I think we're getting a little bit softer as the years go on, and it's important to mix both. I think it's important to have the strength, but You know, you've got the mental health as well. You don't want to be too hard on kids because you don't know if you're going to start to have an effect on them moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, look, Cass, I'm a firm believer of now, as you grow older, you learn a lot of things and develop as a person. You know, every generation is born for that era.
Yeah.
And I think we had a beautiful era.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't be suited to this era, hence why, you know, it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
My boy is you know, he excels in areas that I wouldn't excel in.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd see the same when it
Yeah.
comes to your boy growing up a bit
Yeah.
more. And it's just a really beautiful time, and I was so glad. He loves the game, my lad does, but he doesn't want to make it a career. I was so glad. And in many different.
Because you know, it's not easy to go down that route. It's not easy to go down that route. It seems all colourful, but it's bloody hard. You're constantly under pressure every single day. Are you going to keep a contract next year? Are you going to keep a contract next year?
Yeah,
it's not easy.
No, and I think, you know, that there were some of the reasons why I was just totally fine with things. I was so content by the end. You know, gone through the journey that I had, I was just literally, I put it down to a young boy from Sneinton that made it to Trent Bridge, you know. And I had so many pleasures playing the game and travel the world with it, really. And like I said, I got serious after 15. And
so 15, you say you got serious after 15. I'm assuming that's when you started breaking into like the England setup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's when Young England started, and when I met the great Qasim Sheikh from, you know, the King of Scotland, man. And there's a couple of other lads around at the time from Scotland. I still remember. There was a leggy. Was it Munib?
Munib Iqbal, Majid Huck, who passes on his best to you, gives salam to you. I've actually done an episode with Majid that I posted just yesterday. Maybe if you get a chance at some point, you should give it a watch. Great hero. He went on to have a great career as well. So yeah, we kind of had that camaraderie with each other. We obviously had an influx of young Asian cricketers coming through as well. So no, it was good times. You then, my first memory of you, Bilal, was under 19 World Cup. Now I know before that I'd already heard lots about you. You were proper highly regarded. It was like England's young rising hope. Bilal Shafayat, opening batsman. Tipped to go on to probably play Test cricket for England at a very young age. You broke pretty much the majority of the records in English junior ranks, and then we went to the same World Cup, 2002 in New Zealand. We didn't come across each other too much at the actual tournament. I think you were based in Christchurch. We met each other at the opening ceremony, so we had a bit of banter then. You had quite a few. You had the likes of Qadir Ali, Nadeem Malik. Tim Bresnan was on that trip as well, young Tim Bresnan. You know, how did you enjoy that experience?
Yeah, I mean, Cass, like you said, I'd started to get some serious cricket by then. And I think, you know, Samit was on that. Me and Samit were both 17.
On that as well. Yep.
Yeah, we were both 17. And the funny thing is, right, you mentioned records. I didn't know about them until like Jacko, he's my young coach, and he's a big man for records. So he would be like, I know what the youngest ages, you know, first class cricketer is for Notts. So he knew that. So he'd say, right, it was Paul Johnson at 17. We got to beat that. So he was like the guy who would set sort of milestones, and we started to sort of achieve it and see it. And so by then I'd got that, and then I think I was 17, and he'd worked out that if I was my own age group, we'd miss the World Cup.
Okay.
So this was the only World Cup that I'd probably get to play, and. You know, he really worked hard with myself, and you know, later on you learn different ways of coaching and stuff, and he just had one method. It was his way or the highway, and I'd kind of, you know, started to shape, you know, how he wanted to form a cricketer to be or a batsman to be. And so boom, he got me working on certain areas of one-day cricket, white ball cricket in specific, because I hadn't played a lot of white ball cricket by then. I'd played some championship cricket for Notts. And literally just got a little bit of taste of white ball cricket, because we had at Notts at the time, we had, you know, Peterson and stuff, and maybe that's something you're going to come on to later, but we had a prolific one-day team, and I was just doing little bits for them a year and a half. So this was like a serious tournament of white ball cricket, the first one that I was really going to play, and so we were working on areas. So I had a kind of a game plan going into that World Cup, and if I'd had the opportunity, I reckon right at the end, last game of the tour, I opened the batting, and that's what I'm trying to be doing for the whole tournament, because I felt with my kind of physique at the time, I was quite slim. I couldn't really hit the ball out of the park. I thought I could use the power play or something like that. So I used to really look forward to it. And I used to watch so much of Pakistan's opening partnership going into that World Cup. So you had the likes like Ijaz Ahmed, Shahid Afrdi opening the batting. Imran Nazir was sort of just on the team. There were guys who used to just hit the ball first 15 overs, boom. And that's when cricket was really getting exciting, with guys with trying to get 100 off the first 15 kind of thing.
Sri Lanka probably were one of the first to really launch it. With Yasiriya and what was his name?
That's it, him. And they used to just tee off.
He used to just tee off. I think they were the initial ones that started it. Pakistan, then obviously with Afridi and Imran Nazir, and now every team's got. You look at now, the game has obviously evolved significantly. I mean, you watch a Jason Roy bat, and it's just ball one, bang. It's like the game was changed. What was your highlight of the Under-19 World Cup then? What were your performances, big performance out there?
I didn't contribute massively in that tournament.
Okay.
Yeah, as much as I was like trying to get myself prepped up for it, and we'd worked on stuff. I got a lot of roles in the middle order. Just literally playing batting in the last 10, 15 overs, just getting off the strike, run hard kind of thing, because I couldn't hit the ball, out of the park. And I used to bowl little medium paces. And coming on to the highlight, I got Hashim Amla at LBW.
Did you?
I don't know how. I was a little.
He does play across. He did in his early career play across it a little bit.
Listen, there's a picture of it right on somewhere online, and now and then we're okay friends. Since then we stayed friends, and I just send him a screenshot of that picture just to remind him of it. And I promise you, he was playing a pull shot. And it hit the top of the flap of the pad. How this was hitting the wickets, I don't know, but the umpire gave it. My reason is, look, I was 5'3" at the time, so it was never going over the top.
It's never been over the top.
You take so many memories away from when you're similar age group lads. I'm doing the 14s at Notts, coaching a little bit now. We went on tour last year. Look, there's so many things that you take away from it. You make some brilliant friends, like I mentioned, Cass. We sort of united on the way back. I think it was on the flight back.
That was going to get. So we got on the plane on the way back. Myself and Manib, and I was one of these. You know me, Billy. You went on to play with me as well. I'm not shy, and I was. We're Scotland. You're the England team, so you're a higher profile team than us. So I just came and sat next to you boys. I grabbed Manib. I said, "Come on, let's go and sit next to these boys." And we pretty much sat with you, Kadir Ali, Nadeem Malik, Tim Bresnan, all the way back for the whole journey. You were probably sick of us by the end of it, but we had some good banter. We had a good laugh on the plane on the way back, and that's kind of where it just went on from there. I've always kind of followed your career from that moment on. You obviously had a very successful career with Notts, Billy. You played with some absolute fantastic cricketers in your changing room. To name a few, Kevin Peterson, Usman Afzal, played for England in the Ashes, failed in 4 test matches and then scored a beautiful 50 in the last test, and that was kind of it for him. I think he was just he came up against a very good attack in that series, and unfortunately but he was a top player. Sami Patel, obviously another good lad. You had guys like Jason Gallion. This is a story I wanted to ask you about from the Notts changing room. It's a story I've seen where Jason Gallion throws KP's kit off the Trent Bridge balcony. What happened there? Were you in the changing room?
You know what? I think I got a mention in KP's book regarding this.
Okay.
Because I think I was the one that made the call to KP to tell him the kit was off the balcony.
Oh, right. Okay.
Look, I mean, when they look back at it now, they're gonna, they'll talk about things, and I'm sure they, may have done things differently at the time. But Kevin Peterson is a strong character, as the world knows.
Yeah.
Right? So this is when he's first sort of come into the country. So he's probably been there by, maybe 3 years by then.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 years. He came. I remember him. He's a very dress code was very sort of bland at the time when he came. Straight hair design.
Yeah.
But just quite bouncy and energetic.
Yeah.
Really field, and just wanted to hit the ball out of the park. And
Yeah.
Clive Rice was the coach at Notts at the time, and he felt that he could take his game to next levels because he was an off spinner, I think, originally.
Yeah.
So KP's game was starting to really kick off, boom, really playing, and he was oozing with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And an oozing confident South African in a dressing room, whoever's played with them knows that they can be loud, mate. They'll let you know that they're there.
Rub you up the wrong way. Start to rub up some people the wrong way.
Yeah. So Jason Gallon was the club captain at the time, and I think he felt that KP. I think it was the last couple of games he was leaving the club. He was leaving Notts. So KP wasn't playing the last 2 games, saying he was injured, and I'm pretty sure there's a cast on his leg or something. It happened in a game against Glamorgan. KP saying I'm not fit. Gal's feeling a way about it. End of the season, doing the dressing room. Everyone's had a few drinks and stuff. I'm on my cokes. I'm thinking I'm sober as you can be, right? Whenever I get on the fines, I have to have a Dorito with Tabasco sauce.
Nice.
So I'm all right, apart from my tongue burning a little bit. And then KP, I think he didn't come to the whole thing. He just felt that, okay, I'm not feeling welcome. I'm not going to just come to. And Gal just, after a few drinks, just started to throw his kit over the balcony at Trent Bridge. And it was raining outside.
Oh dear.
He'd start taking each bat and smacking it against the balcony. It was just snapping, and he was lobbing it over. And I'm like a 17, 18-year-old kid thinking, geez, does this really happen like at this level? I've seen stuff happening at amateur cricket at club level, but this is bad. So I think it was it Reedy at the time, or maybe in Franksy. I just turned to him and said, look, I'm going to call him and just let him know that, look, your kit's outside. I'm going to bring it all in, and I'm going to put it somewhere where you can probably just, the pads and that might still be all right. You can come collect it tomorrow. So then I went outside and I kind of collected the stuff in the bag and brought it in. And I think, that was the end of what I knew about it. That's exactly what happened. But it was a fines meeting at the end of the season. There was a lot of alcohol involved in it. Which was no excuse.
A bit of emotions running high. He obviously, it sounds to me like an old school pro who probably just thought, who's this young upstart? He's leaving the club now anyway, and he's taking liberties. And
I was gutted because them bats were proper bats.
Oh,
so I think he was just.
You should have said to him, can I just take a couple of them and don't?
They were in half. I was like, what am I going to do with these now? But
so how did KP take it when you phoned him?
Yeah, he was pretty cheesed off.
Yeah,
he was cheesed off and said, look, Billy, if you don't mind, I'll be in touch because you've seen it all.
Yeah.
Do you mind if you need to, if I need to get in touch with you and stuff? And I said, look, yeah, but that was the end of it. What I heard until I read somebody mentioned that Billy's got mentioned in the book, and I was like, whoa, okay, another little claim to fame that Billy gets for nothing.
That's a good claim. And you know what? You never got a bad mention because you were a good bloke there. You made the phone call to the guy. You obviously felt sorry for him, and then you went and collected his kit. So it wasn't like he was saying, "Oh, yeah, Billy Shafayat phoned me and he had to laugh at me because my kit had been thrown off." You were doing it as a good man. So that's a nice mention. You got mentioned in a legend's book. So I would take that. I'd take that. So KP, I mean, there's many stories that you probably with KP that he went on to have as well, and other changing rooms as well. So he sounds like he was just always one of these kind of guys that big character. And you either like him or you didn't. I mean, it's interesting. Michael Vaughan, Andrew Flintoff, these guys, they never seem to have a problem with him. They seem to work with him well. Whereas the Strausses and these kind of characters, maybe just different kind of characters who weren't really able to understand him as much, seem to not get on well with him.
Yeah.
The best coaches and captains are the ones that can really manage. The Imran Khans who can deal with the Inzamam ul Haq, to dealing with I was seeing Mukram just to bring. They all say that Imran brought the best out of all of them in different ways. So I think Michael Vaughan was probably quite good for the likes of KP because Michael Vaughan comes across a bit of a maverick as well. So they probably just had a similar kind of connection.
I can remember, and that's Kevin Peterson. I mean, there was a time when in our dressing room he's such a good player.
Yeah.
And as a bloke, me and him, and I remember Uzi just chucking us in the car one day when it started to rain. During a 4-day game. He took us in the car. It was about lunchtime. Yeah. He says, look, I don't want the teas at the ground or lunch at the ground today. I want that chicken and chips from Royals. And you know what he said? And we got there, and we got to Trent Bridge to where it was. It was in the middle of Radford, which is inner city.
Yeah.
And we got there, and it wasn't raining at Radford. So we're thinking, I go, Uzi, and I'm like 18, right? So I'm like, boys, it's not raining. Like, I've got my whites on, like, with some slippers and just normal Knots t-shirt, so not gone in full whites. So I'm thinking, we still got to get like ready and stuff. He goes, oh, don't worry, the chicken tastes better when it's hot. So we're gonna sit here, and we quickly ate this 2 pieces of chicken and chips with mild chili sauce. We got into the car, and by the time we got to the ground, all we heard, as soon as we popped in the car, we heard the bell go ding, and the 3 players are not there.
You still got to pad up.
Embarrassing sort of a scene that happened. But, you know, he was the kind of guy that he kind of got on with everyone. I mean, he definitely got on with us. I mean, he was probably 22, 23, and I was 18. He's 4 or 5 years older than me. If that, and he always got on with me, and I was never people say I was never a threat or something, but honestly, generally a decent, for what I remember, a decent bloke to me, but not everybody's seen him that way.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting actually. Ajmal Shahzad, I once seen comments he made, and Michael Carberry as well, who I played a bit against down south, really nice guy. Both of them came back from being with KP and said he was a great bloke.
Yeah, top bloke.
You know, it's interesting to hear that you know that it seemed like it was a bit of a clique, if you ask me.
Look, in what we believe in, ultimately your mannerisms do affect people, different types of people, which is why it's important to have that good, we call it akhlaq, that good character, good mannerisms with everybody. Yeah. You know, there's certain people, maybe me in my day, when I was a bit younger and stuff, I didn't, you know, probably treat everybody like I should have done, or spoke to them as I should have done. At times where, you know, things aren't right for myself, I may have just rubbed somebody up the wrong way because of what I'm going through. And KP is a guy who's been through quite a lot. You know, he's had a huge change coming over from South Africa as well. He was quite young, but then things started going with him. But Cass, what a player! Yeah, let's be honest. Let's not deny that he should have played more for England. I personally think that should have been handled and you know, sorted out. England lost out on having him, I reckon, for another 2 or 3 years. It's interesting, the Ashes series that he played pretty much the end towards, he performed with it. He was the only guy that performed. And you know, you had guys like Swan, etc., who had left the tour. You know, didn't fancy it so much. And you know, KP got kind of put out there as, oh, he's the problem. But to be honest, he always struck me as a guy that when he put the shirt on and he walked out to play, you know, he played. He fought fire with fire. He didn't back away from the Aussies or any of these big test playing nations. And I'm sad that we didn't see him play a little bit more. But I still think he goes down as what, if not England's greatest batsman of all time. So to come over as a young South African, an off spinner to play at Notts, from getting his bag thrown off the balcony by Jason Gallion, what he went on to achieve, amazing. Yeah. So yeah, that was just an insight into the Notts changing room. So you obviously played with some big names. Usman Abzal was another one. He's a bit of a character as well. You must have had some good times with him. That doesn't surprise me that you went driving for a chicken burger or a bit of chicken at tea time. He also was a bit of a colourful character. You know, he was in with all the kind of Bollywood and stuff. And he went to Surrey. He moved to Surrey and had some big playing days there. Yeah, I think for him, another, when I was younger, another role model for me. Yeah. You know, somebody, when I went into that Notts dressing room, he made things, you know, very easy. You know, Paul Franks is another he had a soft spot for me, man. You know, and a top all-rounder. Uzi was a person who, look, he eats what I eat. He wears what I wear. That kind of background, there has to be just a naturally, you know, an inclination, or, you know, he just made it a lot easier for me when I was in that dressing room. And I remember, in particular, when I was young, those days, 17. I was 17 years old, and I got left out of a one-day game at Leicester. And Uzi's style and his rock star style wasn't even there. Right. The warm-ups had started. My face is dropped. I'm young, but I'm still wanting to be part of this first team. And so I'm thinking, geez, I've been left out. And he just rocks in probably about half an hour late. Clive Rice is the coach. And he says, oh, Chief, sorry I'm late. And he says, Uzi, I'm used to it now, but this is taking the mick, you know, Gives him a little ball. He can, all right, fine. get on with it. And he puts his arm around me in this fielding drill, and he says, "Oh, what are you upset for?" And I said, "I'm not playing." And he says, "Who's playing?" And I remember at the time it was a guy, an all-rounder from up north. I think his surname was Clough.
Okay.
And he bowled some medium paces.
Oh, I played against him. I played against Clough. Yeah, I played against him.
And a handy one-day cricketer. And I remember Ozzy says, "Okay, 1 minute." That's what I heard. I mean, I can only tell you what I remember hearing and stuff.
Yeah.
He went over to who he used to call Chief, Rice. He said, "Chief, can I have a chat?" And he says, "Look, Billy runs it one a ball. Let him run it one a ball in that middle order.
Yeah.
Let him bowl in that power play, little medium, believe it or not. Wicket to wicket stuff. Reedy will be up.
Yeah.
And look, he can field. So, let the boy," and kind of just held his ground for me.
Yeah.
When I seen that unfolding, and Ricey just went in his manner, brought everybody in.
Yeah.
And says, "Clough in, Shafayat in. Clough out, Shafayat."
Yeah. Still there, still good.
Yeah, it's cool. So he goes, "Oh, Clough out, Shafayat in."
Yeah.
My heart just went, I just, kid in a sweet shop. Wow, can this happen?
Yeah.
And he made it happen.
Yeah.
So then I started to feel more warmth towards him, thinking, I feel like a bit of a brotherly figure for me,
Yeah,
in that dressing room. So
yeah, look, I came down to Trent Bridge with the Scotland under 19 tour. Now this is my next memory of. This is actually before the under 19 World Cup. So the first time I ever actually came across you was, I tell you this story. You always kind of, it's a bit of a blur to you. But we were staying in the hotel at the Trent Bridge Hotel on the balcony, and Shahid Afrdi was playing that game. I think he was playing for Leicester or something, and he came out, had a couple of straight sixes and got out. But you were playing, Usman Afzal was playing, and I remember just shouting at him from the balcony, "Bilal bhai, kaise ho, theek ho?" And you were just like, "Who is this crazy kid?" And I'm shouting at Usman Afzal, I'm shouting at Afridi, "La la, la la." And it was great day, great game to watch. I want to jump forward now because we now go on. I mean, your county career. I want to just touch on your stats quickly. Your first class career, you played 154 matches. You scored 7,771 runs. Highest score of 201, double 100. Who was your double 100 against?
Pakistan. It was in Pakistan against, I think, Bahawalpur.
So that was a season after you played. That was probably season following season. You averaged 31.71, and you scored 14 first-class hundreds and 41 50s. That's steady going, bro. It's steady going, mashallah. 14 first-class hundreds. Something to be very proud of.
Yeah, look, I mean, bro, to be honest with you, I'm grateful, man. Honestly, I'm grateful of what I was able to experience. And taking that forward, I think it's just something that I hold dearly. I hold the experiences dearly to me rather than the numbers, man.
Yeah.
Because look, Sachin, when he finished, people were saying, he didn't win enough games for India. I'm just giving you an example, not by any stretch of imagination that I could have ever achieved what he achieved. But what I'm saying is, the numbers could never satisfy any, sportsman. And for me, I just loved the journey. I enjoyed it, while it was going amazingly well. Conversion rates is something that is massive. If you really want to look at how things could have been, in terms of hundreds, and I was brought up thinking about hundreds, and not the baby little 50s and stuff. But the figures there for me, that's a big standout, and I think that's where things could have really I could have used, and that's where I'm at now. I guess it's part of my philosophy in coaching as well, and stuff is taking that forward and passing that, sharing that experience on to sort of anybody that I can share it with or wants to listen to it. But numbers are numbers, brother.
Numbers are numbers. They don't tell the full story. There's no doubt about it. Before we get to our time together, because that's where I'm. That's my big memory. We obviously played in Pakistan together. There's a couple of big things that happened before then.
Yeah.
You played in a test match. So you didn't play in the test. You were there. I mean, England seemed to like to have you around as their little whippet. 12th man, you're obviously a whippet in the field. 2004 Test against New Zealand. You take quite a famous catch. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So we didn't have a game during the Test match, which is why especially if it's at your county ground, they ask the county for some fielders, a couple of fielders, and I put my hand up to do it just to experience it. Amazing experience. I've never seen so many people in a stadium until I'd witnessed that, and it was so loud, so loud. Somebody wanted to go off. I couldn't tell you who. Ashley Giles is bowling. I'm at extra cover.
Yeah.
And Scott Styrus just turns on one a bit early, loops up in the air. It's the dolliest of catches that you can think of, and I literally just clung onto it just because of the noise around you and suspense.
Yeah.
And I guess I was probably early 20s as well. I'd put that on me that I'm being watched here. I'm going to make the highlights tonight, kind of thing. Fielders are on and off and you don't make the highlights.
Yeah.
And as soon as it's stuck in, and I remember it sticking in like, at the edge of my fingers, Freddie, come and pick me up, Flint up.
Yeah.
Pick me up. And all I remember saying is, I'll make the highlights. That's what I said. And he was like, yeah, it's good.
Imagine you dropped it. You could have easily, moments like that, you could easily have snapped at it just being nervous.
Look, in my own defense, left arm spinner, you go against it, it spins.
Yeah, of course, yeah, the spin is the problem.
It didn't go clean in at all. It just literally spun, and I held onto it. But it was obviously the suspense that went to it. But yeah,
so you made the highlights. You made the highlights that night then.
Yeah. I watched it at night.
Good for you.
Good fun. And then I did it a couple of times after that.
Going on, this is probably what puts you in the map. Like, everybody in the world knows Bilal Shafayat. And there's a reason why, in particular, 2009 Cardiff Test match. Still with me, Billy? Yeah, we're good. You're back.
We're on. Cool.
We're back. 2009, it brings me to, and this is why everybody knows Bilal Shafayat. No disrespect to you as a cricketer, obviously, not all the hardcore fans, not all the casual fans know everybody that plays for the counties and whatnot.
Yeah, true.
But you'll never be forgotten for the 2009 Test match in Cardiff. 9 down England, playing for the draw. Monty Panesar and Jimmy Anderson at the crease. It was a very tense, quite a long period of time actually that they batted.
Yeah.
Who gave you the gloves and who told you to head out?
What gloves? What message? What are you talking about? Mate, he needed gloves, right?
Who was it? Whose gloves was it? Was it Monty's, or did you take both sets of gloves?
I reckon. Okay, so the story goes like this, right? Collingwood was batting before them. Yeah. So he's playing really well, and I think does he play at one and he gets caught at gully, gone. So that's when the 10 and 11 come together. So Collingwood he came back in the dressing room. He was a little bit cheesed off that I didn't get England over the line.
Yeah.
So he's obviously watching. He's suspensed. He's a little bit anxious. He's thinking, I've got to find a way. And he started to talk to the management and the captain, saying, look, this we've got to trying to find a way of getting over the line. And it starts. The time is ticking. The overs are ticking, and they're calculating things. Me and Alex Hales are the 12th and 13th men, right? Yeah. And Alex Hales is not the Alex Hales what he is now. He's literally a kid coming from the county scene. Yeah. And we sat there, we're listening to these guys that they're making a plan of, finding a way to make sure we bat a certain amount of time. Yeah. And okay, we need to send a message out, as you do in cricket. Yeah. Just send a message out that you need to bat till this time. Yeah. I think it was 20-7. I can't remember the exact time. And you've got to send a message out. So KP, he knows me a little bit more than that time, Baz, and he says, Baz, you look like you're thick as, okay, I'm not going to say the word, but Billy, you go and take the message. Yeah. I thought, all right, cool. And the message is what it is. You got back to this time. Fine. So I'm at the end, they give me a couple of pair of gloves, one of each, and a drink. Yeah. And I'm at the edge of the boundary, and I'm waiting for the end of the over. And I know they're not going to look, because in that crowd and stuff, where they're going to see this I'll say 5'11", but I'm probably about 5'9" and a half. Yeah. So where they're gonna see this little, Asian dude with whites on? At that time, I had a longer beard as well. Where they're gonna see him pop? I'm trying to wave and get the attention, so I'll sprint on.
Yeah.
Got on. Find a way of getting Jimmy's attention, because Monty's in his own world as well. He's not really seeing me. Aleem Dar's the umpire, and he says, "Oh, did they call for you?" And I'm like running as I'm talking, trying to make sure that I get there. I've got to get to my destination. Yeah, we'll talk in a minute. So then I said, "Oh, Jimmy, give the message, give him a drink." And what I've done is I've carried 2 drinks in my hand. Jimmy's put his batting gloves on the floor, and I've generally dropped 1 drink, and it's spilled all over his glove.
Right.
Do you understand? So I'm thinking, oh. And Jimmy's like, I'm trying to save a test match, and he's drying his glove like that. I said, look, don't worry. I need another reason. I'll come back on next over. Be ready. Do you understand? So I'm thinking, I've got to come back on. But then I literally, So I literally gone back on.
Yeah.
Asked them, look, chuck me another pair of gloves down to the balcony. They've chucked me another pair of gloves.
Yeah.
And I've gone literally running back next over. Now everybody's thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? The crowd's going nuts, everything like that. I'm thinking, geez, I'm the center of attention here.
Yeah.
Literally run back on. Jimmy does a quick exchange.
Yeah.
Now Ponting's asking me, wait, why again? So then I started to explain to Ponting, thinking it might take 30 seconds out of the game here. So whatever it is, you'll take out 30 seconds. Do you understand? But all in all, and then I turn back, the physio is there. And I'm thinking, what the hell is the physio doing there? And he literally comes on for me and he says, Billy, should we go? And I said, yeah, let's go. And so he took a few more minutes and he got a proper slaying from the Aussie lot, thinking, you cheating, so-and-so's, da-da-da-da-da. And all I said to Ricky was, look, mate, I'm doing my job. I can remember doing this, I'm doing my job. And he's like, look, oh, mate. So, yeah, look, we got phone calls, man, from, like, the Sun and stuff next morning saying, can we get a story at the home address? And I'm thinking, geez, these people can find you if they really want to find you.
That's mental. That's mental. I mean, I remember it well. I was laughing so much because it was the way that when you came on the second time, you're like looking at Ponting like, yeah, Ricky, Ponting's got steam coming out his ears. He's looking at you like, what? No, mate, great moment. England go on to draw the test. So did you manage to get a handshake with Ricky Ponting after that, after the test match finished?
No, not after that particular test match, no. But I did the next one at Headingley, and they seen me in the morning. Him and Clark, Michael Clark. Yeah. So I kind of just met them and seen them and stuff like that. So I just said, look, guys, it was what it was, and I said, all right, cool. They were fine about it.
Oh, good, fair play. Okay, Billy. So moving on. 2010, your girls are they're trying to see what Dad's up to on the camera there. 2010.
Yeah.
2010, 2011. I had decided it was something I always wanted to do. I wanted to go to Pakistan and try to play first-class cricket. So I had sent some footage. I'll never forget. I sent some footage to Jalaluddin and Haris Khan of a couple of Scotland games, and I said I want to come and play first-class cricket. They contacted me back and they said, we're not sure. You've got a bit of a kenchi. Your leg goes across, and you're going to struggle to bat. Yeah, you're going to struggle to bat here. But tell you what, come out here and basically play in the academy for 4 or 5 weeks, and let's see how you get on. We'll make a decision from there before the first-class season starts. So, came out to Pakistan. I'd heard you were coming. At that stage, I didn't know. Arrived there, I was told the likes of yourself, Zahoor Alahi, Mohammad Zahid was making his comeback that season. These guys are coming, but they're not going to come until 5 weeks down the line, just before we go into the season. So I played with a lot of the guys we ended up playing with. I played in the academy team with Ramiz Raja, Ramiz Aziz, Yasser Hussain, these kind of guys. So I played like 8 academy games. I scored like 750s. So I was feeling really good. And you arrived just about a week before the season started. obviously it was nice to be acquainted with you again. We'd never played together, so again I was excited at the prospect of playing with you. And the night before the first class game, you were in a meeting with Jalaluddin, Haris Khan, Waqar Hussain, Akbar, KFC Akbar, KFC Baba Akbar, what a legend. And I was summoned to the meeting. I was summoned into the room, and again, Jalaluddin's words to me were, obviously he said it in Urdu, but I'll say it in English. He said to me, Qasim Sheikh, you've got a Kenchi now. What I mean by a Kenchi for the listeners is that my front leg crossed over my back leg, which means that occasionally my foot went over across, which meant that they thought I'll be a massive LBW candidate. I can understand where they were coming from. And they said to me, so we don't think you can play here. Guys are going to go quick and straight at you, and you're going to get LBW. And I remember sitting there like I was getting my blood was starting to boil. I was thinking, they're not going to play me. They're not going to play me. I've just scored 750s. They're not going to play me. And they said, okay, I tell you what, the middle order's sorted. Number 3 and 4, we're going to play the youngsters there. There's only one position you can bat. You can open with Bilal Shafayat. And you were obviously captain. You've just been announced as captain for the season. So I said, damn right then, let's go. I'm down for it. I'll open the batting, no problem. And we had a bit of a chit-chat in there. They said, good luck to you. You wish me well. Off we went to sleep. All 13, 14 of us in that bunk bedroom. I used to sleep under the air conditioning because it was too hot. Yeah, we had in the likes of in that room, we had the likes of Fawad Ahmed. What a story he went on to be. I've got him coming on this week. So went on to go to Australia. Great guy, very funny. We'll talk about some of the guys that we played with in a second. But the next day, we went out to a place called Steel Town in Karachi. Absolutely boiling heat, like in the middle of nowhere, just serious heat. I think Suri Gas scored about 330 against us. They had the likes of Khalid Latif, Said bin Nasser playing. So they batted, and it was about the end of day one. We got brought in to bat for maybe 30 minutes. Myself and you got through the evening. We were maybe 40 or 50 without loss. And the next day, obviously, was probably the proudest moment for me as a cricketer in my career. I scored a couple of hundreds for Scotland as well, but you went on to score a really good 60. I scored 100. We had a massive opening partnership of maybe 140, 150. Probably one of the highlights of my career on a cricket field. Do you remember? Do you remember it well?
Yeah, Cats, I do. Now, especially when you talk about things, a lot of the memories come back. Like I said at the start of it, it's in a little box somewhere at the back of my mind. When you start to talk about things and stuff. And yeah, I remember it exactly. I remember the meeting because that year, one of the management of Customs was actually he spends a lot of time here in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Haris Khan.
He spends
a lot of time. So we'd built a relationship over the couple of years leading into that season, and he was and they're really passionate. The management, they are really passionate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in particular, Waqar Bhai, he's got no clue about the game, but he just loves being around and being involved. Many things. So so Jalal Bhai and Haris Bhai, the real sort of cricket knowledge of Customs, and we were discussing options that year. That look, how can you really be? Customs is one of the, for those that don't know, it's one of the first class teams in Pakistan that don't have a lot of funding.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys just put in money themselves and actually form a first class team.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys who play there are either guys who are going to make debuts for first class cricketers, or the elder guys who are trying to play first class cricket enough so they get a visa to come to England and play club cricket, something like that.
Yeah.
And look, they were talking about options, and that's where we said, look, you're someone who played in Scottish, English conditions. The ball moves about. It's not going to move anywhere near move about as much as it does in England. Yeah, they can bowl quick, but you can play quick bowling. That's something that I knew that you're able to stand up against, because your technique is going to be good enough to stand up to pace bowling. Yeah, we can all improve in many areas if it's moving around and you can do. So we were discussing. I said, look, he hasn't opened, but let's throw it out there. Yeah, and that's how I started opening. I'd never opened. Boom, it comes an opportunity. And let's go for the old Scottish English opening partnership. And I remember it being an absolute road. Steeltown was an absolute road, as you'd imagine, in the middle of Karachi with bacon heat. There's no juice and no wickets at all.
That's right.
And getting through, I didn't know I'd scored 60, if I'm dead honest. I remember your 100, because I can remember walking around, and I think it was.
I remember when I actually scored my 100, there was a viewing gallery at the far end of the ground, and you and Harris Bhai were in the viewing gallery. You'd obviously got out on 60. A guy called Ahmed, I think it was, had come in at 3. He was on about 30 at the time. And I raised my bat, obviously, to the team, but then you and Harris Bhai were at the top. It was like a Nasser Hussain moment to Harris Bhai. You know, like when he does this to bottom number 3, I was just like, "There's your Kenchi, Harris Bhai. I've done it. I got 100."
You wouldn't be. I wouldn't expect nothing less from me, Kasim. That's you, man.
It was a great moment. I shared a lot of it with you on the pitch that day. You batted very well as well. It was unfortunate that you didn't go on to get 100 as well. That would have been something really special.
The highlight for me was, and I do remember it clearly, and it is pictures in my head of you celebrating, and you played really well. And I think that was, sometimes you need to just achieve little milestones and think, look, I can really do this. That's something you would have been, and you're somebody who could have easily played more county cricket. You're somebody who played more, national cricket. These things are we look at them now and say, look, they're meant to be, and we accept it, we're content. But look, let's not deny the fact or play it down that, mashallah, we represented our nations because I guess the work that we'd put in over the years, and we were blessed, and I guess there were no Kakandas in Scotland at the time.
Definitely. Unfortunately, the next match didn't quite go to plan. I went from scoring 100, and we went to play against Habib Bank at the National Bank ground. The Habib Bank Stadium ground. Right next to it was actually right next to Customs ground, right next to the academy. Now, just for the viewers, some of the players that they had playing that day, I mean, their lineup was Ahmed Shahzad. They had Shahid Afrdi, Yunus Khan, Danish Canaria, Abdul Rahman, left-arm spinner, Umar Gul. Who else did they have? Well, that's enough. I mean, Kamran Hussain, who was a really quality all-round cricketer as well. Humayun Farad, I think, was playing also. So it was a proper star-studded team that they had. They batted first, and we actually bowled. I mean, that was a total opposite kind of wicket. That was a horrendous wicket. It was jagging about a little bit. We probably should have got them for less than what we did. I mean, we bowled Yunus Khan on a no ball. But there's one famous moment that I will never ever forget. And me and you had a bit of a ding dong on the park at the moment it happened. So Shahid Afridi had come out to bat, I think number 5 or 6, and I can see you're thinking now. I think you were just wanting to get inside his head, but I wasn't sharing I wasn't sharing that with you at the time. But I remember you saying, Cass, come here, Cass. So I've come over to you, and you're like, grab the helmet and grab the box and go in at silly mid-off. And I'm like, I'm not going in at silly mid-off. And you're like, Cass, send me his helmet and his box and go. And I'm like, what have you got against me? Why are you sending me in? And obviously it was nothing personal. Somebody had to do it. And I was thinking inside, send one of the butchie or something like that, man. Send one of these. But you were like, oh, Cash, you do it. Go at silly mid-off. Just stay small. And I was raging with you, Billy. I'm not going to lie to you. I was raging. I was thinking, I crouched down in a Afridi's playing it up. He's looking at me like, you're a dead man. And I'm looking at you and you're like, stay small, Cass, stay small. And I'm thinking, stay small. If this guy hits me, I'm dead. I'm going to get killed. Now, you'd hardly ever get hit at silly mid-off. It's unlikely, especially with a Afridi place. Lo and behold, Shahid Afridi, Mohammed Hussain bowling, old, wily left-arm spinner, lights one up and down the wicket goes Afridi. And I remember I just ducked, closed my eyes, put my hands over my head, and I heard like a, and then I heard, oh, and I looked up and you've caught it at first slip. You're celebrating and you're looking at me like, yeah, and I'm thinking, thank God, yeah, Allah. Honestly, my heart was in my mouth, man. and then to go on in that game, I got a 0 in both innings. I got out both innings open. So I went from getting 100 to fielding silly mid-off to Shahid Afrdi to getting a pair in the game. But yeah, Billy, funny. That was a funny moment, man, that we shared.
Listen, mate. You know, two things. Firstly, I think there's no doubt the wicket was stinking wicket.
Yeah.
And Pakistan shouldn't be producing such first-class wickets.
Yeah.
The ball, if it was pitched up, it was jumping.
Yeah, it was dangerous.
It was doing all sorts.
Yeah.
That's what I remember in particular. Seeing that team, you think, wow, you know, it's a massive, you know, star-studded team, and we're just our custom boys who are, you know, literally making, you know, scraping the barrel for funding.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, look, how can we approach this?
Yeah.
You know, let's just take it head on. Let's just approach this and think, right, whoever comes out here, especially the biggest star, let's make a statement. Yeah. If it comes up, brilliant. If not, by third ball, you're going to be out in the ring somewhere, anywhere or something. And I said, look, can you remember how slow anybody used to bowl?
Yeah, tossed it up big time.
Literally like moon balls. And all I was thinking was, Afridi would not be Afridi if you didn't try to hit him out of the park for 6.
Yeah.
But even I thought, not 1 ball, I thought 3. Give it 3 balls.
Yeah.
He's going to try to hit him out of the park. So when I said, look, what can we do here to play on his ego? And that's when, unfortunately, I thought, let me use this Braveheart Scottish player that I've got in my team.
I was not Braveheart at that point, I'm telling you.
But, mate, the response I got, I thought, I hope to God nothing hits him here, because I'm going to get it from you for the rest of the tour that we're there or something. Mate, as soon as he ran down, all I was thinking, please spin. Because, you know, when it come out of his hand, I'm at first slip thinking, it's come out perfectly. Spin. All I needed to do is, because it was going to land on the length, he was nowhere near it, just spin, and it did. Took his edge, and I was like, yes. And you, I can remember literally trying to jump on you.
My heart was racing, but I was looking back now as you know, I totally get what you were doing there. Very smart captaincy, actually. Very, very, you know, because Afridi totally didn't like it. He looked at me straight away and he was like, I'm going to smash it here. And he went first ball, and you know, the rest is history. That game was quite an eye opener for me in Pakistan. Obviously, we came up against a proper team. It's actually a funny story as well. Khan Ursel, who was at our Under-19 World Cup as well, he played in that game, and he told me that the morning when we went out to warm up, as I was passing him, he said, you know, Yunus Khan talked about you in the team meeting this morning. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, Yunus Khan said that boys come, you know, he scored 100 in his first game. So it shows you even how big players get. The proper pros do their homework on what they're coming up against. And he said in the meeting this morning that, you know, there's a boy that's come from Scotland, he scored 100. Don't underestimate him. Let's come hard at him. Well, they did come hard at me. I got 0 in both innings. And I'll never forget, Afridi proper tried to bully me as well. You remember when I hit one to mid-off when we in the first innings, obviously me and you were opening again, and he threw the ball at me. And I had to jump out the way, and the keeper, and I looked up, and he said to me, "Don't give me eyes." And I'm like, and you're just like laughing at the other end. It's all right, Shaky. And I'm thinking, this is you know, these boys are coming hard.
Afridi's got proper bullet arm as well.
Oh, serious.
It nearly like cleaned you out.
I had to jump out. Anybody else honestly had done that. I'm not shy either. I think I would have gone at them. But I was thinking he's going to end up slapping me or something on the middle of the pitch, because you know he's like, he's got a wide side to him.
No, look, that for me, I think by the end of that game, I'd made my mind up. If I'm going to come back for Pakistan and play first class cricket, I'm going to play for a big bank.
Yeah, well, I noticed that you never went to customs. You went to a proper team after that. You had good success. Yeah, it was hard work, Billy, man. It was hard work. We were, when you think about it, we had like about 6 or 7 boys who were making their debuts. You're talking 18, 19-year-olds, 17-year-olds. Some very talented boys. But when you're coming up against proper first-class teams with the experience that they had, over the course of 4 days, we got found out. We'd have a good session here or there, but never enough to put it together to win games. I mean, we had the Sui Gas one in particular. We should have got a first innings points there, and we gave it away. We went on to play some. Another great moment was you running out Misbah Huq I'll never forget that. What a run out.
Yeah,
That was the
yeah.
fourth of the fifth game. We had played against.
Was I keeping in that game?
It was a suit. No, it
Was
wasn't
I
that game.
keeping and then I took my gloves off?
You took the gloves off. You went to cover. You took your gloves off. You went to cover. Mispa's gone for a quick single, and you just ran round, picked it up in one motion, threw the stumps down. One of the great, and that was also a game that Mohammed Zahid, potentially one of the fastest bowlers of all time, found his rhythm in that game and bowled a serious spell.
You know, I tell you, I remember Mohammed Zahid first when he come to Notts, because Notts signed him, and I think I was 14, 15 at the time, and he was bowling in the nets at the speed of light. You know, and many talk about him, but he got injured that year, didn't play in the cricket. But only last week I seen him on a podcast with Shoaib Akhtar,
right?
And Rashid Latif, and the presenter is Dr. Noman on a Pakistani TV channel, and they were talking about Shoaib was, not shy in saying how this Mohammed Zahid was, quicker than him. Yep. He had a lot smoother action. It was almost like Michael Holden-esque.
Oh, yeah.
That day, we seen a bit of rhythm and how the ball was carrying. And he bowled a speed of light. He's here in England now.
He snicked off Misbah. He snicked off Misbah eventually in the first innings. It went to the guy with a beard in our team. He played a couple of games, a batsman, Sami.
Yeah. Sami.
He caught him at second slip. But he
did you say a guy with a beard in our team? Barry, there's like 10 of them.
There was about 10 of them. There was about 10
you were the only one, I think. You didn't have one.
The only one clean shaven at the time. But
good time.
Unfortunately, you had a family. Your gran, I believe, your daddy passed away halfway through the season. So you obviously went to go and attend your daddy's funeral and be with your family. Yeah. So we lost you for a couple of games. You came back towards the back end, but it was a tough season. But it had some, it was a real, we lived in like guest houses throughout Pakistan. People would put us up in guest houses. I remember there was a guy, Tahir, his name was. He was meant to play in Lahore, and basically Harrisby had decided this boy's not good enough, and his father kicked us out of the guest house. You weren't there at that point. I think you were away. His father had given us a guest house to stay in Lahore. And when he found out his son wasn't playing, he said, "Get all your bags and get the hell out." We had to go and find a hotel. It was things like that. We were really, but it was fun, man. It was fun. We would sit down together, eat dinner together every night. We played with some.
How about the you mentioned the bunk beds. We had like, I think 5 bunk beds in one room.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's 10 of us in that room, and you said you used to try to sleep next to the AC.
Yeah.
But the older guy, Mohammed Zahur Ilahi.
Yeah.
One of the Ilahi brothers who's played for Pakistan. Yeah. He was in the room, but he would get. He was a lot older, so he'd stiffen up. So he would take the AC control, put it under his pillow. Yeah. I'd wait from sleep, jump off my bunk, take the controller out again, put the AC back on, because it used to be boiling at night.
Sleeping there, and the other thing was that the mosquitoes used to come. If the AC was on, used to get bitten by the mosquitoes quite a lot. So it was just funny times. Culturally, it was great. We had an amazing chef in the academy. Yeah. That was Shirazbai. You were taller than him, Billy. Yeah. You were taller. What a chef, though. What a chef.
Why you have to get that? You have to just sneak that in there, don't you?
He was a character because I couldn't eat mirch. Mirch is something I've never been able to eat. So when I arrived there, I said to him early, the food you're making for everybody else is great, but I can't eat mirch. And he, from that day on, that guy catered for me. He used to make a separate handy for me, and he would come and he loved it when you would tell him, "Your kofte were amazing, man. Your biryani was class." He just so happy. And he had poor guy, he had 6 kids that he used to support back in Bangladesh. And it just showed you, he must have fed on a daily basis. He must have cooked for 60, 70 people. I don't know how many cups of tea he made daily for many, many people. And you just see sometimes people moan and groan about hard work over here. It's nothing compared to what some people do in Pakistan and some of the subcontinent countries.
I can remember that clearly because I think I even tried to get all his certificates and stuff and trying to see if we could get him over here, man, just to cook in a restaurant. Because he belonged in a proper restaurant. I mean, here he would be a Michelin chef, bro.
Oh, mate, he would have people come from afar to eat his food in a restaurant here. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate you couldn't get him over because Bachara was working for Peanuts, and he had a big family back home. Lovely guy. But Billy, that pretty much. We could talk all day and go through cricketing stories all day, but I wanted to just take a trip down memory lane with you. Some funny stories. I wanted this to just be a nice, light-hearted podcast. And hearing the stories about KP, your run-in with Ricky Ponting. You're the reason that England drew that Test match along with Monty Panesar and Anderson. You just shaved off a minute or so in that at the right time. And I'll never forget you running back on and off. Now, these days, Billy, nice and settled. How many kids do you have?
I've got 5 kids, Kasim, alhamdulillah. They're over 2 households because there was some kids from a previous relationship, but
likewise,
they're all 5 kids. Yeah. So they're all very active. My eldest is 14. My youngest is now 15 months. So huge gap. But the 3 of them are at an age where they're.
Just ask you a question, Billy, and this is important for me to ask this because do you still have a relationship with all 5 of the kids?
All 5, yeah, all 5. The relationship is amicable. It amicably, is working. They're here right now. It's something that I think it's an important part of when people grow up. It's very important for the kids to see, the parents being amicable, being respectful to each other. And I just feel that the world is such a small place, and life is so short that you can't hold anything in your hearts, man. You have to just learn to let go and think for the kids first.
It's interesting you say that, Billy, because I'm really, really happy to hear that. Things happen in life. It's the nature of life. Unfortunately, with myself, I've not seen my son for 2 years, or nearing 2 years now, since getting divorced. I'm now remarried. I have a daughter, and every single day I'm praying and doing dua that his mother, moves on with her life. I wish her nothing but happiness, but I would love to be able to see my son again. And your story gives me some hope that it can happen, and I'm very happy to hear that all 5 of your kids are still part of your life, alhamdulillah, and they're all brought together, and and it's amicable, and your ex-wife and yourself are able to still be parents to both children. I just hope, inshallah, that my situation can be similar. So please remember me in your du'as. And no, great to hear, Billy. 5 kids now, mashallah. Where have the years gone, bro? Only feels like yesterday we were playing, we're 17, 18 years old, playing cricket, and no care in the world, no pressures, no nothing. And now, we're middle-aged fathers.
Waiting for another crisis. But nah, look, I mean, it's such a beautiful time, Gus. I mean, you see them kids, and they are the coolness of your eyes, and that's something that I firmly believe. You see them nourish and grow and be themselves, and to be part of that. And like I say, we have to remain strong, remain patient in many ways if things are not working out. But ultimately, do what you feel is going to make you grow and ultimately grow closer to our Creator. And that's how decisions should be, I believe, made, and how I try to make mine. And look, you took me down a memory lane today, man, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And unless somebody takes me down there, I don't remember stuff. I'm being dead honest with you.
I'm glad.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad. No, I'm glad. I remember when I called you and I said, Billy, let's do a podcast, and you were kind of like, what are we going to talk about, Kath? And I'm like, well, we can talk about this, and we can talk about this and this, and you're like, oh, right, you remember quite a lot. So we've managed to do that today. I think it's been quite a jump around podcast, but I think the stories that have come out of it will be what people appreciate in this podcast. It's just been fun to talk with you, bro. And I wish you all the best for the remainder of Ramadan. And enjoy your iftari today. Obviously, Eid is looking like it's going to be a little bit of a different thing this year round. have a blessed day with your family and your kids. And we've always got next year, inshallah, to all get together with all our extended friends and family and everything else. But thank you very much for joining me, Billy, and take care of yourself, bro.
Thank you for having me, Kasim. And honestly, you're doing a brilliant thing, brother. You're just bringing people together at a time where, we need it. My prayers are always with you, regardless if we speak or we don't speak. And just remember it's in your prayers as well, likewise, eh?
Always, bro.
Take care, my brother. Take care, yeah?
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, Allah.